wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are going to be taking a fully spoilery look at Kaiju number 8, chapter 77. This one was actually a short chapter, counting in at a mere 19 pages. We're looking several pages short of the usual count, which included the title page and one full 2-page spread. Now, this is no real surprise when you consider what this chapter is, what trope it serves, what beat in the greater shonen ecosystem story, and how to Gundam it felt like it took 5 seconds to read this chapter. But this is Matsumoto we're talking about, and this chapter is chock full of important world building, character development, and a fun triple beat of expectations fulfilled to the point and expertly subverted. Now, I'm about to get into all the spoilers, so if you don't want Chapter 77 spoiled for you, go click on the link below the video to get yourself a copy of one of my books. Humans Are Weird is a series of 3 books to give you a laugh, and Dying Embers is one book that will break your heart. Okay, now who remembers Neon Genesis Evangelion? I think it was Evangelion. Anyway, I think I read the manga as it came out in English back in the day, back when Monthly Shonen Jump still printed issues in the States. I never was much of a fan of the anime, but that's just me. I enjoyed the manga for what it was. However, my point is about a trope that showed up when the hyper-competent, literally genetically engineered to be the perfect warrior girl character has to face down her own dependence on others. Up to that point in the series, she had been brash and arrogant, then she actually has to face down an opponent who matches her in strength without backup, and it gets driven home to her how much she relied on her companions. And even years ago, back when Shonen Jump manga was still publishing monthly in the States, when Evangelion did that trope, it was an oldie. So, in this chapter, chapter 77 of Kaiju number 8, in the year of our Lord 2023, if there is a focus on any one character in this chapter, it is Kakoru, as you may have figured out by now. She experiences this same trope down to the beat, and Matsumoto plays it perfectly straight. Because you see, this is a rock-solid trope. It's not just real, it profoundly reflects reality. Every single human being has had the experience of getting full of themselves as they grow and develop, and then just life smacking some sense into them. From young children realizing that even when they do their chores or prepare the meals, they're still only working in the shadow of their parents' support and protection, to the adult who realizes that even as an independent adult in their own apartments, they are utterly dependent on the men and women that keep the electric grid going the minute that breaks down. This trope, realizing how, no matter how special and smart and strong you are still dependent on your community, is so real and present and universal and happens to humans so often because we so often forget it. It's not merely based on some presupposition born of watching anime for 30 years. So subverting this, or even attempting to subvert this trope, would cause a terrific break in the suspension of disbelief for the watchers. So Matsumoto widely doesn't even try to subvert it, even though he knows we are expecting it. Instead, he just serves the expected revelation and consequences up to us on a silver platter of crisp line art, dynamic poses, and beautifully formed muscles. This was exactly what we expected and what we wanted, so he gave it to us in the best possible way. He didn't try to be original and subvert this trope. He knew this was a critical load-bearing trope, so he left it just the way it was and made it as appealing as possible. But a story that only gives you what you are expecting quickly gets boring, and the fact that there are 77 chapters to this manga, despite all the challenges it faces, lets you know this is not a boring manga. You need to subvert something to spice it up. That is where those 3 decades of anime experience come in, where our own expectations built from learning come in. Take a look at the brainy ballerina. I think we were all expecting her to be at best a glass cannon, capable of only one major attack. At least I discovered in this chapter that was my assumption, that at best she would have heightened agility to avoid attacks, but that she would have no defensive or offensive power, not compared to the other kaiju. Seriously though, I want to know. Leave a comment to let me know what you thought about her. Did you think she was going to be the bruiser she turned out to be? But now let's take a look at why did I think that. I had no data other than the fact that she, like all the other kaiju, had avoided confrontations with the defense force when she showed up in previous chapters. But all the new kaiju did that, including the most obviously brawny ones. Simply put, she was the brainy ballerina, a nerd, a geek. That's the vibe she gave off. Out of all the kaiju, she was delicate and graceful, and most anime kaiju with those proportions tend to be a bit more fragile. Also, there's the trope of the smart one, the geek, the nerd. On the hero side and on the villain side, there is frequently, but not always, a member of exceptional intelligence who, having dedicated their power and training to their mind, is generally physically weaker than the others. Now, while this can happen in real life, this dynamic of a person dedicating so much time and energy to develop their brain that their body deteriorates, the delicate, brainy character is nowhere near as tied to universal reality as the realization of your own limitations is. And this is where Matsumoto applies his subversion. I, at least, was expecting the brainy ballerina to need backup to defend herself, possibly even using those people she had speared in previous chapters as human shields. But no, the brainy ballerina just struts up, bold as you please, as if she has all of Kaiju number 10's power in addition to her brains, and she does. Which brings us to the first thing she does, which is the second major subversion of this chapter. This one is not a subversion of the genre, not something that we'd be expecting from other manga, but rather a carefully crafted expectation that Matsumoto has very deliberately built up over the course of the 76 chapters of this specific manga. There have been many active character deaths referenced in the series. The hundreds who died during the number 6 incidents, for instance. There was the scene where Vice Captain Hoshina grimly reminds Kafka that anyone can and many will die, so it's not a good idea to make friends. So the grim specter of death has haunted the series from the beginning, but up till this chapter, we had never seen a single Defense Force officer die on screen. Yeah, we sort of saw Director General Shinamaya's awareness fade, but even his final defeat we didn't really see due to very careful presentation of the panels on Matsumoto's part. So those nameless officers who got obliterated center panel by the brainy ballerina in this chapter, that was a subversion of our unconscious expectations. For literal years, we have never seen that, so we weren't expecting it. Now, if somebody asked you, is it likely that we're going to see characters die on screen in this manga? I think everybody would have said, well, I mean, yeah, it's a very dangerous profession they're participating in, but so we didn't even know we were expecting that the actual death would be unexpected to us. So so it was a very, very well done subversion of an expectation we didn't even know we had. So you have one trope played so perfectly straight that we all see it and love it, one trope subverted by direct defiance of that trope, of that manga trope, and one trope subverted not by subverting the trope itself, but by building up our expectations in the opposite direction and then subverting those expectations. That is just brilliant. Now I want to take that final element, the unexpected death of those officers, and add it together with the 11 full pages Matsumoto took pounding into our skulls in the previous chapter how powerful Mina is. Tie that into Kaiju number 9's fascination with Mina from way back in the early chapters when he suspected it was she who had prevented the deaths during the application arc when he still didn't know about Kaiju number 8. And then I want to touch on General Director Shinamiya having the deepest respect for her and knowledge of her abilities, and finally focus on Kaiju number 9's determination to absorb more powerful numbered weapons officer combos. So Kaiju number 9 is focused on these officers. He has certain ones he wants to absorb and certain ones he wants to just get rid of. Clearly, the expectation Matsumoto is building here is that Kaiju number 9 wants to absorb Mina, or is going to absorb Mina, the most powerful long-range officer who is stymieing Kaiju number 9's plan on a regular basis. And this would be a horrific blow to our main character, which would, of course, advance the plot, yada, yada, yada. But so far as we know, Mina has no numbered weapon. We have seen again and again that it doesn't matter one whit how powerful you are in this universe. how much power you can draw out of those kaiju suits. You have to be compatible with the particular weapon in question in order to use it. As much as Kaiju number 9 might want Mina's power, he won't be able to take it through absorption. He might just have to kill her. And what, pray tell, would that do to our dearly beloved main character? How much of his drive to be powerful and his ability to control Kaiju number 8 is based on Kafka's true love for his desire to take care of Mina? It was, after all, his relationship with Mina that brought him out of the Kaiju rage when he was about to kill the Director General. Will it be Mina's death that makes him lose that control in battle? But, you say, the main character's childhood friend can't die, not in a Shonen Jump story. That would be too hard of a subversion. Or maybe you don't say that. Tell me what you think in the comments below, my wonderful viewers. Is Mina going to die? Hit that like and subscribe button. Go get yourself a copy of my book in the links below the video. And peace out, my wonderful viewers.